Okay, welcome to my platform, Ghetto to the Hedge, the G2H Movement. I am Griffin from the glass city of Toledo, Ohio. So yeah, the end time sign that God gave you to look for is John the Baptist. The Bible calls him man-child. We talking about Revelation chapter 12, y'all. The Bible calls him man-child. John says, as far as the end time movement goes, I saw as the word glass before the throne. Is that related? Is that related to man-child? It's quite possible that when the movement starts as we go into the kingdom, there's going to be the dimension of glass involved, and all of us are trying to. All the pastors and all the churches around the world, we are all trying to get us into the kingdom. So we are all a proverbial man-child. But the man child that's going to get the breakthrough of all of us that are trying, the man child that's going to get the breakthrough, he is quite possibly associated with glass. The tabernacle design does have 10 curtains that encompass the tabernacle design, and on those curtains are the cherubim, quite possibly the one with the eagle's head. And I believe it could be that one simply because Christ said, with the carcasses, there shall the eagles be gathered together. They were asking about the sign of the end times. It does say, set up the end sign and it shall speak when the end time comes. It's not about a person saying they're this or that. It's about the environment, the way that the environment naturally presents itself will say it to you. So the person doesn't have to say it. And, as in my case, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. Am I trying to be the guy that brings us into the kingdom? Of course. Does that mean that I am him? No. But eventually, as all of us try, one of us is going to get the breakthrough. And Revelation chapter 12, the details of that, which I am pushing so hard to cover, the details of Revelation chapter 12 will help us to recognize the end times. I do believe that Christ said he dwells at the seven church area. He dwells at the seven church area. And John was on the island of Patmos. Christ came to him. He said, when you get out, go up to the seven churches and tell them that I dwell there. And so my question has always been, is he still there? And if he's not still there, or let me say this, if he is still there, why didn't my pastor take my tithe and my offering and buy me a ticket, and the whole church go up to the 12, our church go up to the seven church area? Christ said, to him that overcomes, I'll give the right to eat from the tree of life. I just think my pastor should have took us up there. You have pastors that are taking your tithe and your offering, and they are flying over your head to nowhere. If Christ is in the seven church area, which at this point I don't believe he's there anymore, but I do believe he was there. And I do believe that should have been the first thing that we all learned when we came to church. He said, tell them that I dwell there. So the question to me is, why, if he said tell them, why wasn't I told? It's an actual area. Seek first the kingdom of God and the righteousness, then all things will be added. Christ said, tell them that I dwell in the midst of the seven churches, and to him that overcomes, I will give the right to eat from the tree of life, which means when I came into church, I shouldn't even been in church that long, like maybe 1 year. I should have been preparing to head to the country of Turkey. That's just my opinion, right? But is he still there? He was there. But he moved, I believe. He's not in the 12 tribe area because he told the woman at the well, no longer should the Father be worshipped here. And he moved to the seven church area. I church hopped a lot. None of them were prepping to go to the seven church area. In the seven church area, you put everything on the table, you divide it up evenly so that there's no lack. The leaders of the movement to the seven, if we were going there, the leaders of the movement to the seven church area would have been equal in finance to us. Ananias and Sapphira in the book of Acts, they came in and they played a game with Christianity. They knew everybody was dividing everything evenly. And so when they sold all of their things, they kept some of their things in their pocket, right? Playing a game with Christianity. It's called the come up. The 12 disciples, 11 at this time. I don't think Paul has been converted just yet. 11 disciples at this time. They're splitting everything evenly. It says divided evenly amongst the people according to the size of the family. The disciples were individuals. So there were people who had larger families who were taking home more resource than the disciples. Apply that to today's church. There were people with larger families, the disciples being single men, some of them. So they would take home more resource, take home less resource after everything was divided. Ananias and Sapphira came to the table with a plan. Let's sell everything, but let's hold a little bit back, and then let's put a little bit on the table. And, we're going to need more than what we put on that table. So they're going to have to break us off a bigger piece. So that means we can hold on to what we got, and we could get more by putting a little on the table, but then they're going to give us a bigger portion because there's two of us. They had a plan to fatten their pockets and to rise above the rest of the church, while everybody down here, they're going to be up here. And that comes from Lucifer. When he fell, or he fell because he thought because he had a position and a function that was superior to the rest of the angels. He was the deliverer of wisdom. And this was happening in a galaxy before our galaxy and our earth was even created. He was functioning by distributing the wisdom of the universe to all the beings, created beings before we were created. Different types of beings even in the book of Melchizedek, right? And so he felt like he should get more resource and more attention, because he was a deliverer of the wisdom, and the other angels had other jobs, but nothing was superior to the wisdom. So Lucifer felt like he should have more resources because his skill set was more evolved. But God gives gifts to men. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many gifts. God decides how many gifts you have, and you just work your position. And everybody gets paid the same. But Lucifer was like, no, I have an evolved gift. I should get more resource. That is the foundation for the money system. It's about thinking that you deserve more resource because God gave you a better position in life. God gave you a better position in life. And so you believe because of your better position in life, you should have more resource. And that was Ananias and Sapphira's state of mind, and it got them killed. Granted, when God came to the Gentiles and they were setting up the 7 churches, they were going to implement the same system of equality. And the Bible says they failed. They couldn't get past possibly being equal. Their armies were at that time, they were conquering, pushing towards the east, and they had previous battles in Africa, and they were winning. All except that Hannibal, that African guy down in Africa, they don't want to make a movie about. I think Denzel might have just made a movie about him. Hannibal did beat the Roman army, or almost beat the Roman army, but he ran out of food. But besides that guy, they were whooping everybody. And so now you want us to be equal with them and to share? We've been conquering and taking all the spoil. They couldn't see it. The church was in the middle of that, and one of the churches said, we are rich. We're blessed. And God said, you are miserable. You're participating in the Ananias and Sapphira system of lacing your pockets. When I told you to be equal, the rich young ruler walked away. He couldn't do it. Not knowing that system comes from Lucifer, feeling like he should get more resource because he's operating and functioning on a higher level of one of God's gifts. Lucifer didn't understand, this is not your gift, man. You're borrowing my gift. And I'm never going to get through Revelation chapter 12, man. But we're going to keep on pushing. I talked about the man-child. One of the signs of the man-child, he's the only one saying what he's saying. You can look around and nobody else is saying what he's saying.